Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me again in the Co-Creators Podcast. Today, I have an amazing guest, Jewell Powell. I'm so excited to talk to her. Just as a creative, especially somebody who comes from like the media industry, myself, and so being able to speak to somebody who has also been through that journey. So she is a minister, an author, and a filmmaker, which to me is just like, wow, like I can't wait to get into this and just talk to you about all of this. This is so neat. Um, like I said, especially from, the creative standpoint, like how did you get into all of these things,
Yes. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for having me, Candace. Like you said, my name is Jewell Powell, and I am a creative person. And I just realized that I was created probably since 2000. So before that, you would have never told me that I was creative because I thought that being creative was acting or dancing or singing, which those are skill sets that I don't have, but not realizing that there are other things that God has put inside of us. So until you tap into that, it lies dormant. And so it was dormant for years. And when I finally tapped into it, then all of a sudden it just flourished.
Yes, I love that. So, how did you tap into it? Like what, you know what I mean? Just one day where you just like, I'm gonna write a book. Like,
So no, never had a desire to write a book, never had a desire to do film or invent or anything like that. But my first book, I heard the Lord clearly say, write a book. And he said, well, he actually said, everything I tell you to do it and put it in a book. And I'm thinking, what? So it was my first assignment that I actually heard from the Lord. And so that's how Marriage 101 came to be. I did exactly what he told me to do, and I put it in a book. So there you have Marriage 101. And then every book he's ever told me, I've heard his clear, booming voice as to what he wanted me to do. So I've gotten 3 assignments so far from the Lord. And that's how I started. I just heard what he told me and I just did it. And that's how you tap into, you know, that there's something greater in you that can open up when you tap into what the Lord is telling you, because it's going to be foolish because you probably never done it before. And so I'm thinking, never desired to write a book. I wasn't even great in English when I was in school. But if he told me to do it, then there must be something there. And it was.
oh my gosh, I feel that so much with you saying that because I have felt that same thing. Like even with like this podcast, I'm like, I've never done this before. Like, what am I doing? But there was this like push and almost as if it felt like somebody just hit the go button where I didn't even have time really to question it. Like there was those little doubts, but then something was just like, do it now. I'm like, okay, so, and here I am. And I see now, you know what I mean? Like now that I'm in it and the thick of it. And I see, cause there's moments sometimes where I'm like, can I really like build this company on my own? Can I really, like for my creative business? And then talking with people like you who have also gotten, somebody pressing that, well, the Holy Spirit pressing that go button on you and then seeing, you know what I mean, these amazing things that you've created.
Thank you. Yeah.
Um, like,
And that's what I call faith in action.
oh,
So,
love that.
so we are, when God tells us to do something, even when we cannot see what he's telling us to do, we do it by faith, right? And so I have this masterclass and program about faith in action so that there are people like me. When I was growing up, and God was showing me this stuff, I didn't know any authors. I didn't know any filmmakers. I didn't know anybody that could help me or was doing what I was doing. And I felt alone. And so I felt like I knew I could do it because he told me I can do it. And I knew I was very resourceful. But I don't want people to feel like I felt, which was alone, not supportive, not having a community of people. And so I started Faith in Action so that people, when God tells them to do something, they're like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know anybody. You have a supportive group that will keep you accountable, that will be supportive of what you're doing, that can help you. That's what Faith in Action is about.
Okay. I have full on chills right now. This is you speaking right now is actually giving me confirmation. Earlier this week, I think it was on Wednesday, was starting like a because I have a YouTube channel and I was starting like a video talking a little bit about my past. And I said those exact same things. I said, I just want this video to bring encouragement. And because that exactly what you just said, I came from a very small town. Okay. I'm a Hispanic little girl, middle of West Texas. I, out of the blue, wanted to be a graphic designer. The high school that I graduated from didn't even have an art program,
Yeah.
and so this is confirmation for me because I didn't load that video.
Mm.
And so now I'm like, okay, I'm going to go finish that because that's how I like exactly what you're saying, wanting to have a space for other creatives. And I didn't have a creative director, art director to talk to. I don't even know where to have found one,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know? And so, and even like my story, because I fought like for my, my degree, I fought for um just what I've done. So, oh my gosh, I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of us feel like that. And what I've learned, we have our Saturday morning meetings, which we just had, and one of them is that we're right now. I've got a five fingers, right? Each person is trying to do their own thing. The thumb is trying to do its own thing. The index finger. All these are trying to do this own thing. What if we literally come together as a group? The Bible tells us that individually we is nothing, but when we are more than one, two can chase 10,000, right? Only one can chase 1,000, but two can chase 10,000. What if we actually all come together and allow the hand of God to go? Because it's about community with God. He never called us to be alone and in this bubble. He wants us, because the thumb can't do nothing without all the other fingers.
Yeah.
And so we're supposed to be a community of believers that are doing what God is calling us to do. And we all will find within that community that we're in, we'll all find not just our purpose, but how we can support and help one another.
Yes. And having each person's individual strength and then that trust that you have and how much you can build.
Yes.
This is wild to me. I'm like, honestly, right now, because like we're here doing the podcast interview with you, but like I'm over here like just getting confirmation after confirmation because of this journey that I'm on.
Yeah.
And because that's where like the whole reason why I created this podcast is it's co-creators. So because that's what we're supposed to do, because that's what I've been reading about community, about but also having discernment too, right? Because there's that side of it as well.
Right.
So that's, those are all the lessons that I've been receiving. And I mean, I switched even my company to Kingdom Builders. Like my goal is to build and help people build whatever it is for God.
Yes.
And how they serve and how their services, how their products can serve and help others. Like that's my goal right now. Oh my gosh. Oh, wow.
What if, Candace, what if we, the children in Genesis, the children of Israel, they were trying to build a Tower of Babel. And they were like, when we are in agreement, there's nothing that we can't do, right? So we're going to build this tower up into heaven. Well, what if we as kingdom builders, because those of us who are Christians, we are here to help build the kingdom, right? What if we all come together to do just that and show people what the kingdom looks like?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. I love this so much. So speaking of building, I would like to hear more about your movie? Because I know you had to have a community to create this. And I
Yeah.
know from a book to a movie, like the production, like tell me about that. Like, how did you co-create with people?
Yeah. So this, I can honestly say, was probably the best assignment that I've ever had. He had me to write two prophetic books in the past, but this is a prophetic movie, actually.
Yeah.
And so never done it before, never was in film or anything like that. And I'm like, Lord, I don't even know what to do. But once I got confirmation from him, because I said, Lord, you're going to have to confirm this because this is too big for me. And so once I got that confirmation, I was like, okay, it's on and popping. Lord, where do I? And so when he gives us assignments, he will provide the people, right?
Yes.
He wants to be in partnership with you. He doesn't want you to just go off and do it on your own. He wants to be in partnership. So I'm like, okay, God, where do I find a director of photography? Because, I looked up the people who should be on the team, and it said a director of photography, a line producer, gaffer, all these different people. I said, where do I start with just the camera guy? He said, go to Orlando. Now I'm in Maryland. He tells me to go to Orlando and I'll find the people. So I
Wow.
go to this film festival. It was the last class, like at 9 o'clock at night. And I wasn't even going to go because I'm like, okay, Lord, you said to come here. I didn't meet anybody. I don't know what else to do. I was just going to go to bed. And he said, go to that last class. And in that last class, they said, any questions? I'm like, excuse me, where do you find a DP? Where do you find a line producer? And the guy said, they're sitting right behind you. And they literally were sitting right behind me. And they were the ones who were my line producer and my DP.
Wow.
And what was so beautiful about them is that they had been in this industry for years. So they knew more than I did. So I didn't even have to, I just had to trust that they knew what they were doing. And they were phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that. You're like, where are they at? They're right behind you.
Right behind.
That's so much.
And they gonna always be right there beside me. They are the
I
best. Yes.
that. So tell us a little bit about the movie. I mean, I already saw it, so I mean, I could just gush all over it because I loved it so much.
Yeah, unfailing love. The Lord, when he gave me that assignment, he wanted people to really understand the unfailing love of Jesus.
Mhm.
Because Hosea in the Old Testament was a forerunner, was a metaphor of Jesus, right? And so he wanted me to make it a modern day version so people can truly see what that looks like. And that's what unfailing love is about. It's the Ariana, who I changed the name in the Bible, is Gomer, but they both mean the same, which is completion. She is the bride of Christ, and Hosea represents Jesus. And literally, we are all Arianas.
Yes, yes, yes.
We are all.
When I saw, well, like, so I watched it twice. And
Oh,
I
wow.
think you had told me. So actually, me and my oldest daughter, she's 15, and she
Mm.
watched it. And I'm so glad that she watched it. You know what I mean? Because we were both like, we were crying. I mean, there's moments, it's a beautiful journey, the
Thank
whole movie. And she's 15 years old. You know what I
you.
mean? So she's that Gen Zer, but we were laughing together, we were crying together, we were holding each other like, no, like, just we were, talking to the TV. No, don't do it.
Yes.
Don't take her back.
Yeah, everybody says that. They're like, they're screaming in the movie theater. They're screaming.
We're like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, we're like going back and forth. And it was just, oh my gosh, just a beautiful journey. And then I mean, the very end, we're like crying. And then so I watched it with my daughter, and then I watched it with my husband. And what a different, even just sitting with, two different, a young girl, and then my husband, who is, an older millennial and a man, and just almost like kind of watching them both. Like it was, and the messages that they individually received, and even for myself, I'm sure because we're all three individual people, we
Right.
all receive different things.
Yeah.
And yeah, my husband at one point was like, "Oh, yeah, he's Jesus and that's the enemy." And just like, wow, like the characters, you know what I mean? And oh my goodness. It's it is a good movie. There's
Yeah.
my favorite part. I love, yeah, Hosea,
Okay.
how do you say it?
Mhm.
Hosea?
Oh, yeah.
I love the character, the gentleman who played him. Oh, he did such a good job. Like, he had me laughing because, I mean, I think even for me, even because my daughter said it too, like, we've had those conversations with God, like, "Are you for real right
Yeah.
now? Like, putting
Right.
me through this? Like, for real?" Like,
Right, right, right.
so his reactions and just how he was just made
Yeah,
us just
yeah. I
laugh.
I so thoroughly enjoyed making that film, and I was just I got just a little teeny mad at God because I'm wondering, Lord, why did you wait for my second act for me to do films? Why didn't I do this 30 years ago? But I guess also from a spiritual standpoint, I wasn't even mature. So that probably would have been a totally different movie than it is
I
right now.
feel that so much because oh my gosh, I had almost the same conversation probably like 2 days ago. But then something happened recently where I'm like, I see now why I've had to go through these things because um now I know where you want me to put your prosperity later in life. Do you know? Like, I understand because I
Yes.
feel that if I would have received a certain amount of prosperity back in my 20s, I would have wasted it,
Yep.
you know? And I
Yep.
know I'm not there yet, like, but I know, like, I feel it. I know it's coming because of just the journey. But I mean, yesterday was a pretty hard day. I had a testimonial day yesterday. And that's what I told myself. It was hard. And this part of my testimony. But it brought something to me that I had to go through and was like, this is how I'm gonna help. This is how I'm gonna help other
Yes.
people in the future. And I was like, I put this on my life that I don't want like if I can help somebody be a blessing in the moment I'm in now, like so I
Yep.
see you begin when you really become obedient and you really begin to stop thinking about the worldly things, like
Yes.
you begin to see the larger picture,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know? So that,
Absolutely.
yeah, I can completely relate to you. And like I said, I'm not there yet, but I see it. Like I
Yeah.
see the lessons and why they're coming into my life and what it's preparing me for.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I love it. And you're acting too. I was like, there's Jewel. Like I saw, like I recognized you, and you did so good. I mean, your whole cast was amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, that was it was so crazy. I have never acted before. And so when I couldn't find anyone to be the mom, the Lord said, you do it. And I'm like, Nikki, no, I don't want to do it. And so I actually went to several people and asked them to audition. I was sending out emails, people that I knew were, actors, for them to do it. Nothing. And I called them back up and I said, why didn't you do it? And they were like, oh, I was out of town. I couldn't put a thing together. Oh, I was doing something else. I could not find anyone.
Why?
And I had told the Lord, I said, if I can't find nobody, I'll do it. But he literally wanted me to do that
He's
because
like, okay, you're not gonna find nobody.
but it was fun. But what was interesting is that I love every part of filmmaking. Like, I don't even know if you know the songs that were played. I wrote the songs. I wrote one song, and then a second song my other co-director wrote, and then I changed it up a little bit to match the movie because he had written it years ago. And so every part of it, from writing the script, writing the songs, producing it, um, acting in it, directing in it. The whole thing, I absolutely loved the entire process.
Yes.
It
Oh
was so
my
fun.
goodness.
So
I
I'm working on my second one now. So
Oh, yay! Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. Oh, I can't wait. It's,
it's gonna be
and it's
good.
I'm so okay. It's funny that that this is happening because I mean, just reading Genesis alone, like there have been times where I've talked to my husband, and because I'm reading, I've read Genesis through, and been like, oh, the drama in this, like we over here trying to find all these shows. There's a bunch of stories in this book,
Yeah. Yes.
like
And
it's a
even
lot.
with Hosea, when he said to write a modern day version of Hosea, I'm thinking, Lord, that's an Old Testament story. It really wasn't that interesting, except for the first 3 chapters. How am I going to do that? And it just came together so beautifully. Yeah,
Yes.
it's such a beautiful story.
Yes, and then even that, because I feel like a lot of, the movie and Hollywood and stuff, they always play on the female being, one that goes through all the hardship or whatever, and so to see this movie and it's the male that's been the obedient and the one that, is going through the hardship was just like, wow, because this happens so much, more than
Yeah,
people realize.
yeah.
So just
And
seeing that.
even the younger people, I had a guy, I think he was like 35, and he said, I want to love like that, but I've never felt, what did he say, secure enough. Because he said men want to be like Hosea,
Mhm.
but they don't, I guess they just don't feel like a safe place, that there's a safe place or a woman has given them a safe place to really love like that. And so
Mhm.
I thought that was interesting for a young guy to say that. I think we all want to love like that, because
Mhm.
even I was tested last week. We say that we love even our children, our husband
Mhm.
unconditionally, right? But when something happens and they offend you or they do something that really hurts you, you
Yeah.
you're
Like,
gonna see how much unconditional, unfailing love you have for them.
yes. Yes.
So, what if we all really loved like that? The world would be
Yes.
a better place.
Really, truly. I'm extremely blessed because my grandparents raised me and they loved me like that.
Mm,
Unconditionally, and I mean unconditionally. Because, I went through stages, and I love them so much, like, they're in heaven now with God, but I'll still talk to them, "Thank you for everything I put you through," because, they were done raising their kids, right? And then
mm,
they got this little girl in their late 40s, early 50s, and then, they raised me, and so I always think about how the era that they raised their kids, and then
mhm.
when I came in, so internet, these people lived through the Great Depression, and then now they're raising this, you know, crazy haired little girl, like
Mhm, mhm.
going through all these things in life. And I was not perfect. I made mistakes, and just the love that they like, because I would come home crying and, being a teenager or in my early 20s and making mistakes, and they loved me. Like, I
Mhm.
would tell my granddad, "I'm sorry, and I just need to come home," because they were my safe place. Like, when I wanted to
Yes.
get away from bad people or wanted to get away from bad situations, I was like, "I just need to go home." And I remember at one point, like, I moved back in with them just because I needed to, like, fix my heart, and just so openly. Never did they, get like, "Oh, I can't believe you did that, blah, blah." They were very like, "We understand, this is life. Yes, come home and let's get you right.
It's
Let's
so
build
good.
you up."
Yeah,
So,
beautiful.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's beautiful. Yep. Hopefully, we'll all be able to Love people, unfailing
Unconditional.
love, have an unfailing love for people. Yeah.
Yes, unconditional and
Yeah.
truly unconditional, like
Exactly.
with
Yep.
no conditions.
No conditions. They don't owe me nothing. I don't owe them nothing but
Yes.
love.
Yes.
That's what he taught me last week. He said, even though you have done, even if it's like for your own kid and you've done and you sacrificed your entire life for your kid and your kid could be disrespectful or whatever, your kid owes you nothing because everything that you did because you wanted to do, not because you felt like they needed to do something, in
Yes.
return later on down the road. My kids owe me nothing. I did what I did because I love them, and that's that.
Oh,
And
yes. I
how we won't get offended when we think like that, If we didn't
Yeah.
even think like that, we wouldn't even get offended. And that's where the enemy wants us to stay, in offense.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. And fighting and yeah.
yeah,
Blame
yeah,
also. Yes.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
am as a mother, like I'll say that to and I feel too, just I mean, even with dad, sometimes like they can be a little more, and I feel like that's a lot of the dynamic too, where they're more strict, as the father. And so with my husband, sometimes I'm like, you gotta, don't ever, I don't say be easy on her, but like just remember that as a parent, like we're here to guide them. Like they still like she still has to make her own decisions and choices, and we just have to make sure that we are giving her the tools, the Bible, you know,
Yep.
to use that to help her, in her journey. And her and I actually had a conversation last night. Because there's certain friends that might be a little on the dark side, and and I
Mhm.
just tell her, because it says in the Bible, yes, you're going to help others, but to be careful not to get too close that you don't get pulled in. So I
Exactly.
like had that conversation with her last night. But I'll say that, all the time in my mind and my heart. God, these are your children,
Yep.
and they are not mine. They belong to you. And, just help me so that I can guide them the best way so that they know that they belong to you.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. That's all we're required to do. Train them up in the way they should go.
It's still hard though sometimes. You're like, "Oh, what are you
Yeah.
doing?"
Yeah. Exactly. We're human too. We got to put a little bit of that into it, but yeah.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so you had talked about this master class. Is that open to anybody to join, or how, like, yeah, you said faith in action, which I love
Yes.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have cohort periods. And so right now we're in the first month of the 6-month cohort period. And so there's a waiting list. So once we get to the next 6 months, then I'll open it up for others. But it's like a every 6-month period.
Oh, I love that. Um, do you have a site that for people to get on the wait list? Like I could put that in the
Yes. I will send you the link to that. Yep.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Yep.
So, I know you've got the Marriage 101 book. What is the other book?
The other book is an open invitation. And that book was prophetic that the Lord told me actually to give away for free. He
Oh,
said he didn't want anyone to be without excuse. And so that is the bride getting herself ready. He clearly says he wants to recalibrate the church, that Jesus is coming back for his bride and we need to be ready. So that book is on my website. I'll send you the link to that. It's Kingdom Reign Ministries, IES.com. And that book you can get for free from the website.
awesome. That's awesome. And then, um, so can you tell us a little bit about your new movie? Just a tiny bit.
Just a tiny bit. So what I'll say is the last movie was about Jesus's love.
Mhm.
This movie is about knowing him and the Father's love.
I
So
love
that's all I'm gonna give you. Now,
Okay.
what I will say is that my YouTube channel, I'm going to be putting on there information probably every day or every other day as I'm going through making this. So I will do a
Oh,
lot of
cool.
I will do a lot of back behind the scenes as far as
Yeah.
locations, um, finding staff, the staff, the cast, the crew, and stuff like that. So the YouTube
Oh,
channel will have everything.
oh, I love that. And so are you still looking for people? Are y'all
Yes, we are in the beginning
oh,
stages. I am
cool.
in pre-production, and we're getting ready to do a crowdfunding campaign for the production piece of it. And so, yeah, people can actually, if you ever had a desire to be on
Yeah.
set or a desire to be in a movie, those will be some of the
Yeah,
crowdfunding
that's
that people
cool.
can do. So, yeah, we're going to make it very fun where people can, just come on set for the day or, well, not for the entire day because we work very hard, but,
Right.
a couple of hours where they can sit, behind me as far as a director to,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
so any of those type of things that'll be a part of the crowdfunding. Yeah.
Oh, that is so neat. And so, okay, yeah, send me the website so that, I can link that and then your YouTube channel as well.
Okay.
So we can put that all on the notes.
Yeah.
Oh
It's,
my
it's,
goodness.
it's YouTube is just the at symbol Jewell, Jewellr, Powell, Powell.
Yes, I will put that in there. That's so neat. Oh, I'm excited to follow that too. How fun. How amazing. I'm just like, I'm so grateful. Thank you for this has been a blessing,
Oh,
just having you and visiting with you. Um, so I ask, everybody this question. Do you have a favorite Bible quote or is there a scripture that you are right now in the season that's, coming up for you a lot that you can share?
definitely.
Um,
The scripture is Revelations 19:7 and 8. And that is because this is really a critical time. And that's what an open invitation book is about. It says that let us rejoice and be glad and give glory to him, for the marriage of the Lamb has come, and his bride, which is the church. We have to remember that not everyone in the church is the bride, but the bride comes from the church. The bride is consistent of the one who makes herself ready. We're required to make ourselves ready. And verse 8 says, it was given to her to clothe her in fine linen, bright and clean, for the fine linen is the righteous acts of the saints.
mm,
There's a standard that we are to live by according to the word of God.
yeah,
And when you live according to the word of God, you are a bride. And so the open invitation book explains all of that. And so I suggest go get it. It's free. Go get it.
yes,
Yes.
yes. Oh my gosh. Wow. I think I did like a little episode a couple weeks ago and it was called New Life. And just because the journey, like I've been in the word every day, probably for like the past 4 or 5 months now. And I can't even explain it because people talk about, oh, how hard it is to let this vice go or that vice go.
Mm.
But what's crazy to me is since I've been in the word, I don't even
Yeah.
I don't even care about any of those vices anymore.
Yes, absolutely.
There was no like, oh, I need to, you know, figure this out. Or they're gone.
Well, that's because when you move from the flesh to the spirit and your spirit man is more fully developed than your flesh, then it's not as hard. It's not as easy. I mean, it's not as hard. When
Yes.
your flesh is in control, yeah, it's hard because going against the spirit, you're going to have those struggles. But when you walk in the spirit, you will not fulfill the lust of the flesh. So how are you developing your spiritual walk? That's what
Yes.
counts.
Yes. And I'm learning so many things too. Just because like there's maturity levels too in
Yes.
your obedience, in your walk. And see, I didn't know those things before. So like I'm 40 years old, but there's a young girl I know who's 19, and I know that she is more mature in the, you know what I mean, than I am in her walk.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
so there's so many things.
Well, what I taught something 2 weeks ago about the 30-60-100 fold, the good soil. And that literally is, and I compared it to the NBA players. So when you got 30-60-100 fold, you got 30, most of them are sitting on the bench, right? You're in the game, you're part of the team, like a Christian, you're part of the team, you're in the game, but you're
Mhm.
sitting on the bench. So you're only
Yeah.
at 30 fold. Then you got the 60 fold that they're out there, they're playing, they're putting some points on the scoreboard. People may know you, may not know you, but you're 60 fold because now you're playing in the game, right?
Mhm.
Then you get to the 100 fold, which is the bride. The bride wants to get to the 100 fold. And that is when she's dominating the team. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, those people who have disciplined themselves, who work very hard to dominate their field. That's
Yeah.
your 100 fold.
Yes.
So your 30-60-100 fold is also compared to the temple. You got the outer court, 30. You got the inner court, 60, and you got the holies of holies, that person who is developing that relationship with the Lord, who's transforming into the image of Christ. That's how you grow. And so we
Yes.
only get to the 30 because all we believe is that it's about salvation. No, it's not just about
Mhm.
salvation. It's also about growth.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And
I
that's all I
ain't
love.
gonna preach it. Y'all need to go see it on my YouTube channel.
I'm gonna, well, yes, if you have that, I will link that too. But yeah, I'm like full chills right now. Just everything that this whole experience with you right now has just been such a blessing to me in my journey where I'm at right now because I don't feel like I'm on the bench. I do feel like I'm in there now,
Yeah.
but just to see, I'm excited to
Amen.
grow more.
Yes. Yes.
I every morning I wake up and like the first thing I do is read my Bible and I am excited. I'm like, what are you going to tell me today? What am
Yes.
I going to learn today? So this, and it's a joy, a supernatural joy is what I keep, because even though yesterday was a hard like day, like, oh, I say a worldly hard day, but I was, I gave it to God and I did. I said, it's none of my business
Yeah.
how everything's going to work out.
Yes.
That it's all going to work out and for you, for your glory. I'm going to be an advertisement for you. So you just put me where you need to put me.
Yes. Amen. That's the right attitude to have.
Yes, I love it. Oh my gosh, Joel, thank you so much for taking the time with me this morning. I'm so grateful, so grateful.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was a joy to be here, and it's a pleasure to meet you. You have the heart of a bride. So I love when I meet others who have the heart to be a bride, to just love the Lord with all their heart, mind, soul, and strength, and to just do the works that God has for them. So I bless you and what you're doing as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Well, thank you guys for listening today. Again, thank you to Jewel for being here with us. I'm going to put all the links, the book, the YouTube, everything I can for you all to follow. And I hope that y'all got something amazing out of this. I know I did. So I hope everybody's having a good week and
Yes.
talk to you later.
God
Bye.
bless.